to the weaker mindset. A woman's power is in her femininity. You got to understand, wars have been fought over women who have been feminine, right? They like women who know how to be feminine. I'm telling you, you can draw the just the essence out of a man. That's just how this stuff works. And the real talk, you can attest to that. So the thing is, a lot of women they've been taught either or conditioned to believe that the more masculine they are, it's like the tougher they are. And it's not really the case. If anything, a lot of these same women who are doing these same masculine tropes, they're actually suffering on the inside because it is a lot of pressure and most of them aren't equipped to handle it. And it's time for us to get to a situation where it's like, it's okay. But now these same women also have to start teaching the daughters that, hey, all right, it's okay to start thinking about needing a man for these certain situations to complement your life in aspects where you can't, fit. You should start seeing it as they come together. But overall, to answer that initial question, when the women do end up finding out what it is or receiving what it is that they want, it's the fear because now they're put on the spot to perform.
Right. So, that was a mouthful. So basically, and that seemed like that's what they were saying. One of the things from the lead attorney, I believe it was yesterday, that our mothers aren't teaching us, and I don't know, Kay, if you agree.
I said this. Our mothers are not training their daughters to be wives.
Right. So, but like your mom trained you to be okay, let me put it like this. Let me back up. Like, my mom trained me to be a wife. Your mom trained you to be a wife, but they didn't do it in a way of, okay, you're supposed to do X, Y, Z. Like my mom with my dad, she trained. She didn't say do X, Y, Z, but
she trained by example.
Right, exactly. My dad was all of our husband. We had to wash his clothes. I even gave an example on Duke of Dawn how when my dad would cut grass, my mom would make me take out lemonade, hold a napkin under the ice lemonade, wait for him to ride by with the lawnmower for him to take a half a sip. Sometime out of this, just because he could, he didn't even want to drink it. Just because he could just let me know who am I. It was like, so I was trained in that way, but I don't know, something went wrong.
No, you're absolutely right. I hang out with a lot of Hispanic folks too as well. And the one thing you see in these communities when you go to dinners and whatnot, with a lot of them, they have the sisters a lot of times, or even the wives of some of the sons who are even in that bigger house because it's a big house. Then you see them when it comes dinner time, they're over here serving all these different dudes
the men
from a young age, the men of the household. They're over here setting up the tables and dinner tables and whatnot. And I'm like looking at the first time I was exposed to that, I'm like, yeah, man. First of all, I've grown up in a single parent household. I've never seen my sister set up a table for me and my brothers or anything like that. I've never seen that happen, nor my mom do that or an example of that. So it goes back to your original point where you're talking about, okay, your mom was teach you by example. Okay, hey, this is what you do. You stand out here and this is how you show your appreciation for a man who's out here mowing the lawn and working and pouring in. So it's your way of being able to give back. What's happened along the way is that a lot of women, they've been teaching their daughters that, well, if it doesn't work out in this sense, because we're always thinking fear-based right now, you got to figure out what it is you got to do for yourself. And it's ridiculous because y'all got to understand that the world is all about taking risks. You're going to fall flat in your face, but it's how you get back up. That's what's going to make or break you. And it's the women that often do that. They end up moving on and becoming successful with relationships. But it's how you get back up. And a lot of women operate out of fear, and they can even sense it from prior generation of women who may have been done wrong by ancient dudes out there. And we're not going to deny there are ancient dudes out there that kick the cycle, that are part of the cycle too as well. But overwhelmingly, the situation is the example being passed down from the mothers to the daughters, and then being able to execute. I'm Nigerian. In our culture, growing up, the moms, the daughters, they're in the kitchen, and the moms are teaching the daughters how to basically cook in the kitchen, how to clean, how to sweep, how to do all that stuff. Now, don't get me wrong, this is stuff the sons are supposed to learn, but up until a certain point, when the sons are to the point where they're basically about to get married or before they get married, that's when them being able to cook for themselves and clean for themselves, that's when that doesn't matter anymore, because they found a wife who's been prepared by the other family to become his complementary piece. The problem is, in our culture, and we're not doing that nowadays. We're trying to raise women or our girls to be boys, to be these strong, rootin' tootin' things, right? And then we're raising our boys to be these soft, feminine things. It's like it's complete crisscross whack. We gotta stop that and say, hey, it's not the same. All right, boys, we got to treat you a little bit differently, and girls, it's gonna suck because it seems like sons getting a little bit of the privilege and special treatment. But you got to understand that when you get to an age when you find you a man, you see how mom is treating this, you see how mom is teaching you how to basically treat your brother, how mom is teaching treating your dad in front of. This is how you're gonna learn how to, when you deal with the man or find a man like your father, right? You can learn how to do what mom does to keep him. So that's where we got to start training ourselves now. Yeah.
So CJOJ really wanted to know, what is a resume, and I guess this is for you, Big Mike. What is a resume guy? Like, what do you mean by that exactly? She wanted to know. What's a resume guy?
Well, a resume guy pretty much is it's like a version for women who have a list of what they consider either high value or anything that to them this is what's going to look the best. So if the best means, for example, you're a doctor, you're making X amount, you have this going on, you have a house, you have this kind of car, so forth and so forth. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And of
Looking
course,
good on paper.
Right, exactly. That's what
that just depends on each woman. Our resume.
What some women determine as what's important on
what's
their
her
list
currency,
of
right?
I gotta have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So obviously, me saying that, I'm showing my age, which I don't mind, but that's okay. You know what I mean? But it years ago, that's how we described those things. Was you just want a resume guy. It has to look good on paper so that when you took the guy back home to your parents, you can say, hey, this guy has the checklist, blah, 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 blah. And of course, to your mind, that's impressive because guess what? Ultimately, you want the parents to say, you have my blessing.
Okay.
Because
do women care about that these days? Do women care about getting the blessing?
To some degree. I think
it don't matter.
It depends on the parents. Like, say for instance, your parents are professionals,
right.
and your parents and you grew up middle to high income household, then your parents expect you to marry in that same range.
Absolutely.
So they have expectations of what you're supposed to bring home to them.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So but everybody's currency is different as to what's important. I remember
my currency
a friend of mine a couple of years ago. I tried to introduce a friend to a single guy who, he was good looking.
I didn't like him. Okay.
This was not you.
You don't ever hook it up with nobody.
I did hook you up with somebody, but all he wanted to do was suck your toes, and I'm sorry. I messed up.
The one guy she hooked me up
Your
with wanted to screw my feet.
got no shame.
The dude would not screw
to play with her
me.
feet. That's all he wanted was her feet. But he was very nice looking.
Yeah, he was. That's why I kind of stuck it out for a minute. But it was like, yo, you got to go because we ain't banging.
But he was
the
the rebound guy. That was his purpose.
But he didn't have to like my feet though. He could have liked me.
Man,
yeah, and you know what? You haven't hooked me up ever since then, and I see that's a good thing. You never. Anyway,
let me get back. Okay, so girl, I was trying to hook up with a dude, nice looking guy, professional, made good money. Spoke well. That's important in this one, because she was like, he don't have no thug in him. I was like, what? Because in my mind, that didn't even exist on the list of things that you're looking for in a man.
That's her currency.
Yeah, but her currency, he didn't have any hood in him. He was too clean cut, and she was with a dude, or she was dating a dude that had a grill.
Translation: and the guy was boring.
Yeah, he was a gentleman. Yeah,
she wouldn't even meet him.
I would even push back. It's not that the fact that the guy was boring. It's we would say that, but we could also say, what are the masculine roles that she's been growing up, or at least grow to condition to see that were masculine roles, right? So as the guys who similarly look like guys who put grills in their teeth, the guys that look like some of these rappers and some of these entertainers out here, right? They're out here being pushed to be the epitome of men and what they look like. So ultimately, what these women are looking for, they're looking for someone that displays those masculine figures. And unfortunately, in our community, we're being raised from the jump to like guys who are clean cut, they talk different, they talk straight. For instance, right, I know how to code switch, right? When I'm around different folks, trust me, I know how to code switch.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think honestly, it's an important, not even important skill, but just being able to go outside your own group and relate to other demographics and people. Exactly, it's very important. But I remember now, I was doing this in high school, and I remember this kid comes up to me and he's talking. He's like, "Man, how you black and you trying to talk white, right?" And it was just me speaking proper English, and I looked at him. I said, "You mean speaking proper English? You're saying that how screwed up does your mind have to be to think that speaking proper English is reserved to talking white? Is reserved to the white people? What is wrong with you? Do you not understand what this means? It means that I'm able to blend into that group and then be able to benefit for what the whatever resources or benefits that group has to offer, and I can take that and then move it to another situation, or for instance, bring it back to our group, and that's part of the reason. So a lot of us, we were trained to see guys who talked proper, who were clean cut, who didn't have all these different things to be kind of corny, to be boring,
or
to
sellouts,
or sellouts, the weaker types, right? So that's what it is. So it's okay. You can say the situation of, is it a thug or is she looking for a masculine role model? But her ideal of a masculine role model is some of these guys running around here doing these wild and out stuff in the streets, or looking like some of these guys that have put grills on and all this different stuff. Yeah. So, when you look at it from the biological perspective, it starts to make a little bit more sense.
How old was she?
Can I address?
Was she like young?
She was. Let me think. Hold on.
She was too old for a
This was about 10 years ago.
Oh, so she was too old.
She was knocking on 30's door.
Okay.
But hold on, let me address Adrian.
I'm sorry, I have a question really quick. This same woman that you're talking about.
I know you're not going to ask her for a hookup because I'm right here, boo.
I know. Hold on. This
thirsty.
same woman that you're talking about, what was her environment that she grew up in? Did she grow up in the hood?
Yes, very much so. Very hood.
Okay, that's all she knows is hood. Yeah.
But she was a professional.
She became a
had a very hood, West Side type background.
So when you say professional,
here's the thing.
What? When you say professional, meaning what?
I'm trying to remember what she did for a living, but
like a banker or something.
She had an office job. I don't remember what she did. She made decent income. She spoke well,
right.
But of course, as we all can do, code switch when she want to. So
right.
It was
thought the men were gonna be too soft. She wanted a man to be like when she
don't want. She wanted Pookie. That's the short answer.
And a Ray Ray.
But I do realize.
And a Ray Ray.
I will say.
Go ahead.
Say this. She did somewhat grow out of that. Any dude she's with is going to have some hood swag to him, but I believe that she kind of outgrew that need for a pure thug.
Right.
I did want to address something Adrian said, all off subject. She said, I mow the lawn. I'm sorry, I plan to die without ever cutting a blade of grass.
Yeah, I ain't never cut no grass, and I'm going to die not cutting no grass. And what were you saying,
Duke?
What were you saying, Duke?
No, I was. We're going back to my original point. No, I was saying it's not even because it goes back to what you said originally. Because a lot of times, too, it's they're looking for the backbone piece for guys. So for instance, I got no problem dating. I've dated hood chicks before. Like I got no problem dating hood chicks. Would I prefer it? No, because I don't do the drama and whatnot. But I'm telling you,
that's what y'all all say.
Would you marry one?
I can't. I would say the lady I married technically was pretty hood. Like she was pretty hood. She could.
How did you know he was married before? Okay.
I didn't ask. Would he marry a hood chick?
Oh, okay. I thought you said would he marry
me? Hey, I'm telling you, catch me 5-6 years ago, maybe. That was a wild dude back then.
Or 6 months ago.
I would have been.
Damn.
Hey, your perspective has changed.
It's changed. But a lot of times, because I wouldn't consider myself, even the whole time I dealt with them, right, as a hood dude or thug dude or anything like that. But the one thing I have for myself is I wouldn't take shit from nobody. Like I wouldn't care who you are. So it's one of those things where it's like a backbone element to it. And I never professed to be, and I know guys who actually wild out in the streets and do stuff like that. But every once in a while, is some guys you went to high school with, you grew up with, so you're not gonna like sit there and like, all right, whatever, I'm gonna cut you off. But you talk to them, but it's like at a distance kind of thing. But it's not one of those things where it's like you got sucked into life. But it's what I'm basically getting at is it's the backbone piece that they're looking for. That's basically it. And a lot of times with black women or with most modern women is they tend to look for the stuff on the outside, right? They look for the things that they're looking for on the outside rather than actually getting to know the guy first and getting to know his character and say, okay, this man actually has certain rules and boundaries set for himself. All right, now I can start to develop a certain level of respect for it. So a lot of times we're just looking at the outside. So if the guy has a look that, hey, he can be abrasive and he's not gonna take no shit. Maybe I might leave the door a little open a little bit to see what he's got, right? And then it's up to the dude to talk himself out of it, But that's pretty much it. If a lot of these guys, if they can, and I'm not saying they have to go in and start dating hood chicks. I'm not advocating for that. Listen, that's some problems you're not
ready for. What's wrong with hood chicks? They're so much fun, right?
No. It's not saying they're not fun. It's fun, but I ain't trying to go to jail. Like it's a wrap. Like I ain't trying to get in a screaming match with you. I ain't trying to do any of that stuff with you. I ain't trying to do any of that. But it's one of those things where you just got to have that backbone piece element, and that's when even coming down to when you start getting to the point of getting art, because you get tested. They will test the shit out of you, and it's one of those things where I know my limits and where I'm not willing to go. And some of these hood dudes, there's certain situations where they're not above, putting hands on them. You know what I'm saying? But here's the thing, and this is coming from me personally observing this shit. Like I've seen this shit, like they will push and they will. Man, like they will. This particular situation is coming to my mind right now. She cut this dude, like I'm telling you, right in front of them. You were like, damn, bro. And it was one of those things where it's like they will push, and it's not that saying advocating that you should hit women or anything like that, but it's like, damn, bro, like you gotta
handle that.
You gotta figure out how to do that. Like, you know what I'm saying? So for a guy like me who know for a fact I got limits and I'm not gonna take it to that point where I'm gonna get physical with you, it's one of those things where I'm out. I'm not. I draw the line right here. I'm not gonna go as far as that dude. I got other things going on that we cool.
They have you all.
And guess what? You see what you just said? That goes back to the very point that I made earlier by saying, basically, different strokes for different folks.
Tasha's still not gonna let her husband curse her out, okay? Big Mike.
No, she's not gonna let it. But
he really wants you to get cursed the fuck up by your husband, Kay. You want that so bad.
But I'm just, that's why I said different strokes for different folks. So, it's not a matter of which one is right or which wrong is wrong.
It just depends on that relationship.
You just have to look within yourself in terms of your morals and your values, and you have to look at the other person and say, okay, can this person either A, match where I'm at so that it can make a partnership? Also, is their way of life something that I can live with? If I can live with it, then who gives a shit that someone has something against Pookie? But the fact is, I love me some Pookie. It's not for
Pookie's
you to
all
say.
fun.
It's not
And
for
Ray
to judge.
It's a lot of fun.
So as far as I'm concerned, me personally,
So what do y'all guys?
I'm with homie. Listen, I had enough of the hood chicks and all that. I'm like, listen,
You ain't done yet. I can tell you, you got 2 more hood chicks in you. I like what CJOJ said.
Not 2 more.
CJ, I hate this femininity thing. What do you mean by that, CJOJ? And y'all like,
it's CJ, man.
Seem like why is she on your channel and you taught her so much more than this, right? For her to come here and just to say, I hate being feminine. What is y'all think with femininity? Like all of a sudden it seems like that's the big word. Femininity. So what is femininity? What is femininity?
So many women in that I'm independent, strong black woman thing, they
Mhm.
come off as harsh versus feminine.
So what is
You're not seeing the
femininity though?
softer side of them. That softer side that
But what
I don't
examples?
know. For me, is
Vulnerability.
me and my
Yeah.
vulnerability,
Yeah.
the domestic side of
Hold on,
me.
hold on. So you can be vulnerable for a man. Well, so when do you show your femininity or vulnerability to a man then?
All the
I mean,
time.
because who wants to get screwed over and
Every
get
time.
All
played?
the time. Every single day. Matter of
Oh,
fact,
hold
Listen.
on, hold on. So you trying to say, let's say I'm trying to get up with one of y'all. What I'm supposed to come out being vulnerable?
hey, there's a reason why Captain Savo, you know what, exists. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Because it's pretty much predicating on the fact that majority of the time women are vulnerable, and it's preying on the man's natural instinct to want to be able to come in
Right.
and protect the
Mhm.
woman. A woman walking around, listen, y'all. See, this is what I'm
Men
saying.
want to
Like,
feel
y'all.
needed.
Y'all been tricked, man, because vulnerability is y'all superpower. Listen, if as a dude I'm walking around here being vulnerable and shit, I'm a whole snack to another person. That's basically what it is. I'm gonna get robbed or something like that. But as a dude, I have to learn how to be able to fend for myself. I have to learn not only to be able to fend for myself, but for the people I want to be able to go ahead and protect and provide for. You see what I'm saying? So those are skills that I have to develop in a separate way. Women, it's a completely different story because majority of the time, you're going to want to be protected and provided for. So in order to do that, you're going to be able to have to exhibit traits that want and this is a trait. That's why when I talk about drawing out your masculinity, that's the vulnerability aspect I'm talking about. When I see someone who's vulnerable, like a woman, right? Like, and I'm not saying like, oh, like I'm like scared and whatnot, but just
Yeah, what is
being
vulnerability? Hold on. What exactly is vulnerability then? Because I'm thinking of
All
showing
right. So let me answer that question.
weakness
Let me
and
answer that question. Right?
put all my cards on the table just to get
Yes.
Yeah.
played.
Let me answer that question. And
All right, Big Mike, do it
actually,
good now.
yeah, I'm gonna
Me
answer that
giving it to you
question.
is all contingent.
Yeah, I'm gonna
All
answer
right,
that
man.
question.
Get it
And
right.
as a matter of fact,
Damn
I'm
it.
gonna give you a perfect case in point. And
Okay.
this is more on the extreme side of it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, Duke, if you agree with me, you just let me know. Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
A perfect example of women using their vulnerability as a powerful weapon. And this is the most extreme example. Brittany Renner.
Who?
Perfect example.
You think she's
Brittany
using her
Renner.
vulnerability?
Who?
Yeah,
No, how?
because if you know who
Brittany
Brittany,
Renner is hold on. Brittany Renner is the woman who married was it PJ Washington, and they're
yeah,
saying that you remember
but
we talked about it.
basically,
No.
her whole mantra is that she's finessing all these athletes and blah 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 blah,
Okay.
and they're taking
Oh,
the bait.
okay.
And the reason they're taking the bait because she's using her vulnerability to her advantage.
How is she being vulnerable? I mean, I know how. I mean,
Well,
I don't get me wrong. I agree with you.
here's what
Because what happened
And that's an
behind
extreme
behind
example.
closed doors, she's like, I had to be a hoe, and I really don't. I know how she's doing it. Okay, because that's the only way
right.
she's bagging these dudes. But
I wouldn't even say it's vulnerability. It's she's using she knows how to basically play to his ego. See, a young man like PJ Washington, a woman like that, because Brittany Renner, like vulnerability in a way she can act like it. She knows how to feign it, but it's
Right.
not that true vulnerability with what she does and what all the other women like
And
her.
that's why I say it's an extreme example.
Yeah, they understand what it is that certain men are looking for because damn near the bar is so goddamn low. Like it is what it is, right? So
Absolutely.
she does those certain things, like she placates to his ego. And a young man like that coming into the league, having all this windfall of cash, and you got this Instagram woman, appears to be down for you, all that. I mean, you saw his tweet where he was though like basically you were faking it all along. I mean, he ended up taking it down, but you could tell there was a lot of pain and hurt in that tweet because he really bought into the world she created for that man.
he got caught
Doesn't
cheating,
so
and he wanted her to shut up and take it. That's all that was, and she didn't
here's
want to put up with it.
But it wasn't that. But how many of them dudes that she already dealt with? She dealt with Drake, Colin Kaepernick, all these other
Exactly.
dudes that do the exact same thing. Brittany Renner is she's the kind of person. Maybe if she got into the game right initially, maybe she was in a naive state, and eventually somebody took her under the raincoat and told her, "Hey, baby, this is how you're gonna work this," and she became something completely different. But I wouldn't say she's vulnerable. If we want to talk about vulnerability, it's basically being not being afraid to let a man basically take control of certain situations, right?
Yes.
And what I mean by that is like basically knowing when to back off. Women want to, you know, when we talk about how the old trick where the woman probably could open a can of pickles by herself, right?
Okay.
But then she's gonna say, "Hey, honey, can you do this? It's too heavy." Yeah,
Like I don't know how to do my roadcaster. Like how do I hook up my music to my roadcaster?
Exactly.
Men need to feel needed.
Exactly. So when you make them feel needed,
Y'all really care about feeling needed? Y'all don't act like I do.
They want to feel needed.
But they don't act like it.
No.
Says who?
It's a dude. It's a dude.
Me.
Listen, it's the dudes that you deal with. I gotta hold you accountable, girl. All right, it's the dudes that you deal with, okay? Because
that girl is too girl.
Taking some wrong.
And here's the thing. A lot of dudes are simply just what do you call it? They're adjusting to the market, and you'll even see a lot of these dudes who more of them are coming out here who are gonna be doing I call it future faking, where they basically come out here and sell a dream to a lot of these girls, right? Some of them they appearance fake too as well. They try to fake the fact that they're rich or all these different things by the cars and all the stuff that they drive, right?
That Toro.
That's what it is. That's what I'm saying. We got to stop falling for the optics. But it goes back to your earlier point when you were talking about bringing her home to the folks and whatnot. See, this is what we used to do back in the older days, right?
That's
you
right.
had the vet, you have the girl, date the guy, bring him back so the parents can vet. But typically it was the guy that was in the same neighborhood or from the same community, and everyone else probably already know who that dude was. Like, okay, that's Chuck over there. Chuck's a good guy. He's whatever. I know his family. His dad goes to the ball game. Things like that. And then Chuck's already pre-vetted before he comes to the house. Dad is already filling them out, and all of a sudden it's a wrap. They're on the way to go do something else because Chuck's already a stand-up guy. He's not only been vetted by the community, but he's also been vetted by the parents. Now, what's happening in modern culture is women are starting to, instead of relying on the community and relying on the parents and family that you originally helped make these good choices, a lot of women are doing it by themselves. And what's happening is when they're going out into the real world, they're basically falling into these different traps that a lot of these men out here, it's easy for them to lay when they see it, because now a lot of women have been conditioned to look at the physical stuff, the surface level stuff that mimics some of these core characteristics that we're just talking about. All right. So they go out and they fall for the easiest ones. The guy who talks like he has a lot of integrity and talks like he's gonna be with her, really be with her if he just opens up a little bit, right? That's what it is. So once they get burned and crash and burn and whatnot, a lot of women, they really do get hurt, because real talk, they initially, before they get tainted, they really do be buying into this fairy tale shit. Like real talk. It's not until they run up to the first real one that they really poured all that shit into, and he done them wrong, because he probably been done wrong, and hurt people nowadays. So it just perpetuates that
mad cycle.
I love what Trash Can Wave said. Women who cut grass look hard in the face.
It's miserable work. It's miserable work.
Hey,
Adrian
CJ, how you doing, baby? CJ? CJ
CJ on?
She be on the panel. Let's make it happen.
Okay.
I think something going on with her audio. She was having difficulty. What were you saying, Kay?
I was saying that Adrian asked the question, needed for what? When I said men need to feel needed, she said needed for what?
That's a good question.
So that question goes to where... Well, okay, it may or may not be financial, but I think it's more so of their presence, that they have to be some benefit to you in your life. So they feel like, So like, for instance, hey, let's just say he don't make a whole lot of money, but, he can fix my car, or cut some grass, or, you doing, somehow you got to be useful. That's a real man. Now, a trifling man is totally cool with sitting there playing on the Xbox and not doing a doggone thing all day, and you serving him and you working all day long. But a real man wants to feel as if you can't do without him for some reason. You know what I'm saying? If he feels like you could throw him out like yesterday's tissue, then why is he there?
Yeah, and then that's the thing. A lot of women don't realize when they say this, I'm a boss thing, I got my own house, I got my own car, all those different things. Listen, man, I would like to buy. I like that car buying experience. I like to be a part of that. All these different things, I like to be a part of that. But if you're already coming to me with all this different stuff, then what's new with you? Why do you even need me? Like, what's the point? I don't feel needed, and it's no slight about against the women who actually feel this way, right? I think it's wrong. But when you're bringing this to a guy, a lot of guys are like, well, listen, if you can already take care of it, I'm gonna just be with you, and it really the only thing I don't have that you got is the box. Let's just be real.
For real.
I'm gonna
For
chill
real.
with you, and we
For
gonna
real.
hang out. You gonna do your
For real.
independent thing. I'm gonna be on my thing. But real talk, and now it's a box, and you can see why a lot of these relationships are all about sex. Because if you're bringing the exact same thing the man is bringing versus basically trying to compliment what he doesn't, you're not gonna stay around. You're gonna talk your way out the damn house, out the damn way, and he's gonna go after some girl who probably she ain't got shit going on with her life or nothing else, but she got all that.
And
time
she's willing to be everything.
Exactly, and be whatever he wants. He wants him to be, right? And he's gonna go out and go marry that woman and move on with his life. And that's usually how it happens. A lot of times, this boss mentality, it don't work. It just doesn't work for a lot of guys. Now, the guys it will work for, a lot of guys who are weak-minded dudes, a lot of guys who just don't mind letting the woman take care of them. That's that money, right? You know, the ones, they spend a little too much time with mama. Mama has a little.
Oh God, no, we're talking mama.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But
mama's boy.
You notice how when you get into these relationships, these same dudes, they tend to get comfortable, real comfortable, to the point that they either just chilling around, not doing shit, playing video games, and kind of just deferring everything to the woman, even some of the most important tasks. And over time, the responsibilities, the woman just gets sick of it, because I was like, what are you doing? You're looking for a mom. I'm not trying to be your mom. I want to be your wife. So make me your wife. And that's a problem.
Yes, big time. So y'all guys, so what were you saying, Kay?
I don't recall, to be honest. But back to the original topic. Go ahead.
Right, yeah. So I was about to say, so do we really know what we want? In the chat, y'all put, what do y'all want? What do y'all really want when it comes to a relationship? Like, I think I know what I want. I'm pretty sure. And I think and the thing is, we have to do the due diligence, ladies. We just can't say we want X, Y, and Z and not do the due diligence to get X, Y, and Z. And I think that's a big thing too. Not really doing the work. Like I know I've done a lot of stuff. So I'm trying to do the work. I'm trying to reverse some things and just show a lot of self-control and patience instead of just, because I can easily go out and do things, but I just choose not to because I want to. Go ahead.
Let me ask you this question, because the question you asked me earlier was whether or not I thought you were ready to be married or if you were ready to be a wife. So the reason why
and you said no, basically,
I hedged on the answer is because I want you to look at it this way. Let's say you could
yes
be married
or no,
tomorrow.
Yes or no.
Listen, you're going to answer that question for yourself. Okay,
I'm asking you your opinion. You know me.
If you are to get married tomorrow, and let's say you actually find someone who financially can do what you're doing. Okay. So are you ready to let someone else lead you? Are you ready to say, before you go and spend $1,000 on a pocketbook, to have a conversation with someone else before you do that?
What? Oh, hold on. Ask to do what now?
I didn't say ask. I said have a conversation with someone
about
else
me buying my purse
to determine if you buying $1,000 purse is a good idea. Yes, you can financially do it on your own. You don't need $1 from another soul. But my question is, when you're a partner, you don't go burning money without having a conversation about it. So do you go and spend $1,000 on a pocketbook, even though you can do it without blinking? Do you go do that without having a conversation? Are you ready to be able to have that conversation with someone else, to make a financial decision with someone else before you do anything? It's not asking for permission. It's having a conversation.
Over something? Can we not bother about pocketbooks, please?
No. I'm talking about the pocket. I went to the pocketbook.
What about if he tells me no? What about if he says no? What about if he says no? I can't take that risk.
Give you the reason.
No. What if he says this is why are we buying $1,000 pocketbook? That doesn't make any sense.
It makes sense to me because it makes me happy.
Okay.
I don't think it's a good idea for you to buy a pocketbook that costs $1,000. Can you find one that's $500 maybe?
Okay. But the $1,000 ones are better quality.
Can I
add to that?
But
point?
maybe hold on. Let me finish. Let me finish
Are
this
you
train of thought first.
Are you about that purse?
I want her to answer the question, because you're gonna answer the question as to whether or not you're ready for a husband.
Absolutely.
Because you're not gonna go spending $1,000 without a conversation.
Let me ask this pertinent question. Am I still working?
Yes.
Oh.
So.
I ain't quite ready. I'm not ready. Cause like this, I'll mention it. I'm like, I'm going to get this purse because I want it.
Are you really even going to mention, or are you just going to come home with the purse?
Well, he
like,
know
look
this.
what I got.
What would he even notice?
Of course,
That's not
he's
the
gonna
that's not the
notice.
point. That's not the
But
point. No, he probably won't.
All right, let me ask you this.
Exactly. When
But that's
when
not
I'm
the point,
sniffing the
right?
leather, just sniffing the leather and taking the wrapping out, and oh
Right.
god, I want another purse now.
So,
Thank you for
let me
making me
ask
want
you
one.
this, right?
What? Wait a minute. You can buy me a pocketbook or not?
Am I gonna buy you that
Yes,
pocketbook?
I want a Burberry,
Well,
black,
I'm only gonna buy it once we have the
buffalo
conversation.
leather,
Once we have the
$1,500.
conversation,
I'm ready.
we have to have the conversation before that happens.
Okay, we talking about right now. Go ahead, baby. What's up? I'm gonna get me a
Okay,
pocketbook.
so
I'm gonna get me a
so
pocketbook.
let me put it in more direct context to what she's talking about, right? Let's say the both of us are married. We're
Mhm.
not boyfriend and girlfriend. We're not. Nope. We are married. In other words, both incomes are going into one account, right?
Okay.
One account.
Okay.
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 Now, you come to me.
I have to stop you and ask a
Wait,
question.
wait, wait,
before
wait,
you
wait,
go
wait,
any
wait.
further.
Let me
No,
finish.
no,
Let me
I have a
finish. I
reason.
know.
Hold on, just real quick. How
Let me
old
finish.
are these
Let me finish.
people? How old are these people?
No,
in
that
this
doesn't matter.
We
marriage?
talking about me and
That
him.
doesn't matter.
Does
No,
that matter?
because it's the
Go ahead.
point still remains, right?
Okay,
Mhm.
okay,
It's
go
not
ahead.
about the age. The point still remains. Okay. Now, keep in mind, there's one account we are
Okay.
sharing together, right? Now, you come to me. You're not asking me. You're just saying in conversation,
Mhm.
I would like to buy this pocketbook, but it costs $1,000. I'm
Okay.
asking you, why do you feel the need to get this pocketbook at $1,000? And you're saying to me, because I want to look cute. And I'm like, okay, but who do you want to look cute for? Because as far as I'm concerned, you don't need to look cute just for me for $1,000, not necessarily. So you're gonna have to come up with a better reason to make me feel like, okay, I'll support that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I
So
don't like this.
let's say
Yeah, I don't like
your
none of this.
reasoning is to say,
Mhm.
well, aside from being, I just want to look cute, but I really like the bag, and also the bag can hold this, and the bag can do this, and da 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 da
Yeah,
da.
exactly. You know.
Now, because you've shown that aside from it being cute, the bag also has a few more things that would give it a purpose. Then I might consider, okay, go ahead and spend that
Oh, I can keep my
$1,000.
laptop to
Or,
do my YouTube.
or hold on. Or I might just say no, because right now we cannot afford to spend that thousand.
But what if we
But if you
could?
wait,
Mm-mm.
if you wait a while, we will spend it.
No, I'm not ready.
I would say this in that scenario, you probably because I would say this because if I was in that situation, my mind is already made up. I'm probably gonna say no. All right, that's just
Exactly.
what it is.
All men gonna say
But
no
here's
to
the thing.
$1,000
Here's
purse.
the thing. Here's the thing.
Kasha,
But that's
thanks.
but here's the thing because men are biologically wired to think logically first, right? When it comes to a
Absolutely.
situation. So in
$1,000
my mind,
purse
I'm
is
like,
illogical.
why do you want $1,000 purse? However, this is where the femininity and the charms and things and understanding the long game comes into play. Because you think of women that don't understand. Listen, there are women finessing dudes out of freaking $10,000 for hugs. Okay, if you want to talk about $1,000 bag, it ain't shit nowadays. Okay, you can do it. You just got to understand how to
Absolutely.
throw it right. So in this case, it's your husband, right? And a
Absolutely.
lot of times, wives should understand this more than anything else. But the reason why most wives don't, because they don't spend time on studying the husband. Like that's the opposite sex. You need to study this man. What are his
True.
weak points? How can I placate his ego over a certain span of time so that way he's weakened enough, drained enough to the point where it's like his defenses are down to be able to do it. And he's like, all right, baby,
Right.
you know what? You've given so much to me. I'll make you feel like you've given so much to me. What you want? Let me go ahead and spend that back for you. All right. That's how
But
it is. You can see there's the thing. Women, the
here's the
power
thing,
of
though.
femininity is very important. You gotta
I
understand
I
how
don't
agree
think it's all the
100% with
femininity in
that.
the world to
It's
get $1,000
Look,
purse.
it's
I
out
agree
there.
110%. But the real question here
Yes.
isn't whether or not she could get the purse. It's the fact that all of a sudden you have to consult someone else about
Right.
financial matters when you're used to doing it by
Yes.
yourself.
And that's
And
why it's
Yeah.
even
very
though
specific
you
in this scenario.
like I said again, you can buy $1,000. Clearly, you can buy $1,000 purse, and you're
Right.
not going to feel that later. However, that's not the point. The
Right.
point
If I'm
is,
willing to submit enough
are
to
you
bring
willing
someone
to
else into a
submit
decision.
enough to make somebody else be a part of your decision. And then, oh my God, what are you going to do if the answer that you get back is, no, I don't think that's a good idea.
And I'll say, okay. And then I'm going to get the damn purse and he's not going to notice.
You got to reframe that because, yeah, in a way it's submission, but submission is a form of power. That's the thing. You're looking at these different things as characteristics of weaknesses, and they're not. So if you understand that you're literally, because what you're doing in that scenario, you're playing a game, basically a long game to see how well I can basically weaken that wall of yours so I get that $1,000. That was it. So if anything else, you're in control. The guys you just have to wear out the guy's freaking logical defenses. And there are a lot of different tools in your arsenal to do that. These are different types of things that most women used to teach their daughters, man. They used to watch this growing up. Women used to listen, and I'm speaking of this just from culturally speaking, how I see my mom and how she interacted, before shit went south, and how other families in our community would interact with the women run that. They talking about behind the scenes. Oh, they run that shit. They run that shit. The man's just there. We just out here. That's basically what it is. But in terms of how things to do, trust me, these women really control things. Like even some of the meetings we put together out here, we have the UNAMA and whatnot that is women-led, a lot of stuff, right? Listen, we just out here. But a lot of the time, the women understand the power of using the vulnerability and using the femininity, and they pass these down. It's like we got into this modern time where we forgot to coach women on how to be women. This is the kind of stuff and tactics they teach in these schools, right? And these old school femininity schools. Okay, this is how you walk like a lady, act like a lady, talk like a lady, be like a lady. These are different mannerisms that basically trigger senses in a man's mind of, oh shit, that is a lady. That's someone I need to basically appreciate. That's someone I need to come at a little bit differently because she's talking a little bit differently. I have my characteristic and hierarchy of women, right? You got the lady, which is the top of the top. In the middle, you got the broad, and the bottom, you got the bitch. All right. So
that was a drastic decline.
You know what I'm saying? So those guys, you watch my channel, you notice I use those same words interchangeably when I'm talking about certain types of women. All right. You got the lady because the lady is the highest form of endearment when you're talking about a woman who's someone that you'd like to wife up or you like to be, right?
Yeah.
The old
There's levels to this shit.
Oh, I love you, right? You know what I'm saying? And then you got broads, which is just women out here just living for the moment, I guess, and doing the thing. And then you got the bottom of the barrel, which we consider like women that super toxic. You probably don't want to deal with. They're fucking complete bitches. It is what it is. So that's what it is.
I'm a combo. I'm a broad bitch.
Hey, listen, baby.
I am not a lady just yet.
It all depends on the context. But you know what I'm saying? It is so right now, a lot of women, they've forgotten the art of becoming a lady. They forgot how to act like a lady, and they become more bitch. And I would say part of that bitch attitude comes from them just acting like these second-rate dudes out here. Like if you start embracing your femininity and embracing your vulnerability, you're gonna just go up to the level of lady right there.
So what's your example of a lady? So what's that top tier so I can learn? How do I become a lady?
Understanding your temperament, basically understanding men. And by understanding men is basically understanding how simple we are and what do we need to basically keep us at bay. Basically things that you need to know to basically keep us coming home. That's basically it. You understand how to do those things right? Oh, you're good. And you know how they have those saying a lady in the streets freaking the sheets, and you understand the concept behind that. When you're out there, you're modest, right? You leave nothing to the imagination. You see how some of these guys in these Muslim countries, right? And the ladies are all covered up and whatnot.
Right.
These dudes walking around here, right? A lot of things that go through a lot of these dudes' head, right? When they're looking at their eyes and shit, all this stuff, they start to imagine what the woman could be like what's going on here, right? You're living so much to the imagination, and that's what we guys do. Like that we love to fantasize, we love to build a world in our heads about the woman because that's gonna trigger us to want to pursue her, right? Because now we're gonna start building up all these fantasies. Like, God damn, like I want to know. Ultimately, is what we want to know what
I drop that
like,
veil.
right?
But I have a lot of on that note, I have a lot of friends that are Muslim, and they most of them are married. And I've done toy parties for them. They're just as freaky as every other woman on earth. And a lot of them, they have on their hijabs and they're fully covered. But these same women are walking around with lingerie and heels on underneath those things.
Of course.
Hey, so they literally
so stupid. He said covered up bitches, right?
But yeah, they cover up.
Hey,
but
I'm gonna tell you
they
right
come
now,
out of it and they are gorgeous.
Right now.
Their faces beat. Their body is tight.
Banging.
They got all kinds of little kinky things on them. I sold plenty of them lingerie. I sold plenty of them toys. I sold plenty of them all kinds of creams and lubricants and all kinds of freak. I have shipped stuff overseas for some of them.
Wow.
So
Listen,
yeah, they're
there's
just as freaky as
still
we
women
are.
at the
But
end
the
of the
bottom-
day. You know what I mean? There's still women. Come
So
on.
those women in the
exactly.
countries who are covered up are scandalous. So what the YouTube streets
it's
are
not-
saying?
it's not-
I didn't say
saying it's
scandalous.
scandalous.
I said they're
No,
That's what
just
you
as
think.
that's a bit
Here's the
extreme to
thing.
me.
Here's the thing.
That's
Here's
a
the
bit
thing. A lot of
extreme.
times, human nature hasn't changed, right? I like how the reason why, like, I'm not even as bothered with some of the stuff that's going on out here, because some of the stuff that's going on out here has been going on out here. Social media
right.
just exposed this stuff, right? It's just like we're seeing a lot more versus before, where we had our little
Right.
communities and whatnot. Now we're seeing it on a global scale. It just seems like it's a lot, but it's been going on since the dawn of time. Women love sex and like to be sexual.
I think this
However-
guy's a troll.
Oh,
I
but
think
they
this is a
understand. but they understand that in order to get the best out of the in terms of the value of men that they want, they got to be able to keep it classy, leave little to the imagination, let the man wonder, right?
Yeah.
Give the guy something to chase. Give him something worth chasing.
Right.
A lot of times I hear modern women, oh, he's got to do this, all these different things to indicate that the man should pursue you, but you're not giving him nothing to worth pursuing. You out here on Instagram, you got your titties all out here, your ass all
Yeah, I
out here.
like that,
can't imagine
though.
shit.
I
No,
thought
it's not
y'all
that we
love
like
that.
it.
But there's
It's
a
not that we
difference.
like it.
There's
It's
a
not that we
difference.
like
Hit.
it. It's not like we can watch it.
They're
we
not
can
hit
see it,
anything.
right?
There's a
But that's
difference.
a different level of attention. That is a
Okay,
different.
hold
That's
on.
an attention that's like, hey, listen. After this
Trash
post-nut
can. I
purity,
was
we
referring
good.
to American, like black Muslim women. That's what I was referring to.
Hey,
Wow.
CJOJ, how you doing, sweetie?
Hello.
What's good, girl?
Hey,
Hey.
Thank you, Duke. You got my sweeties over here now.
Hey, Duke.
Hey, baby, how you doing?
Did you know he was coming on
Good.
tonight?
I didn't, but I saw the back of his head when he turned around. I was like, that's Duke. That's Duke.
What you got to say, girl? So you say you tired of this femininity and
I
masculinity
am
talk.
tired.
Why?
I know Duke is ready for me because he was like, oh,
oh, here
CJOJ.
comes the
Come on,
smoke.
let's go. Let's go. I'm ready for it.
Bring the
Okay.
smoke. I'm ready.
Okay, guys. Okay, so I'm listening to our men. I love men. I want everyone to be happy and get everything they want. But this is
I'm sorry.
Pharmacist.
Transfer Waves is killing me today. He's killing me.
Oh. So,
Go ahead.
so
I'm tired of that talk too. I ain't gonna lie to you, but go ahead.
yeah. So this is what we're hearing. Women, femininity, women are adopting masculine frames. This is what's making guys not want to be with them. So I want to know now, and you guys talk about the modern woman. So Duke, I was gonna do this on your platform, but I can do it here and ask
Anyway,
you.
let's do it.
What is the modern woman? Okay, fine. She's living in this era. Other than that, what is the modern woman? Because you all keep saying the modern woman does this, does that, does the other.
It's the power imbalance. When modern women understand the power imbalance right now, in terms of how they're being treated and how the accountability is being spread around, to versus the guys, right? Because now here's the thing: we went from a traditional background where it's all about monogamy and preaching all this stuff to this deregulated sexual marketplace, right? Where the women are in charge and taking control ever since the birth control and whatnot. So now women have been given control of this marketplace, but now we see that. Not only just a sexual marketplace, women acting more in masculine ways in terms of mating, right? Building rotations, which isn't good for women long term because having sex with multiple guys, that's not going to be good for your emotional stability long term, right? And I'm not saying all women, but certain few women. That shit don't bother me. But for the majority of women out there,
Those
you know what I'm
broad
saying? That you know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where when we talk about modern women, a modern woman right now is someone who's basically bought in to this paradigm where they're second-rate dudes, where they actually have to give up their power that they had to educate their children back home and that have tight-knit control of their families to be able to come out here and basically be another workhorse for the tax man like every other dude here doing.
So thank you for that definition. So to me, the modern woman, I take that, but I also hear she's a woman who has options, right? Compared to back in the 50s or before that. She has options in terms of what she wants to do for a career. She has options in terms of what she wants to do for a home life, right?
I wouldn't say it's because of options.
No. As a
Because
matter of fact,
I would say women has always had options. They've always had options. Listen. Even back. I'm not, now. Here's the options and choosing is a different thing. But in terms of having like a variety of guys to choose from, back then you have a bunch of suitors that have come in. Go ahead.
I'm not talking about men. I'm talking about options.
I'm talking about
career options,
okay.
Right?
Okay.
Career options and how they want to structure their family life, home life, right? So career options, I feel like when I hear these discussions from men, they are focused on women this idea that women are no longer choosing to be homemakers, right? And I am all for women who want to stay home and be homemakers. That is a difficult job, and it's a job that needs to be valued more, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there are women who want other careers. On your panel right now, the host of the show is a pharmacist, right? I'm a professional as well. So then I feel like this is the men are saying, you guys are choosing a career instead of choosing to stay home and be homemakers. Because
Incorrect.
Okay, so hold on.
Incorrect.
So because when you were homemakers and staying home, then we as men had a function. Because you were home, we could bring home the bacon. There was a role for us, and now you guys are earning
it up in the pan.
Huh? Yeah.
I said, I'm frying it up.
Yeah.
You make some good points, CJOJ.
So exactly.
These men just want it all. They just want it all, girl. Okay?
So this is what I struggle with, and so you guys are both agreeing with each other and saying no, that I'm misunderstanding.
Okay, here's all right. Let me dispel all that for you. Okay. What it really is? Check this out. What it really is? Us guys are just looking for balance, over and out. Has nothing to do with, well, you're thinking we can't have a career, we can't have this, we can't have that. Never one time did we even suggest a thing like that.
No,
We're just saying we want balance. That's it. Once you give us balance, we're good to go.
It seems like it's never the perfect amount of balance for y'all.
It's not that. It's not that, because listen, I've seen situations where women can be out here, career women, and some of them still find themselves husbands, and some of them, actually, majority of them I've seen, especially out here. Now, most of them are from other demographics, however. But like I'm saying, they can do it. Women can have it all. It's just saying that certain types of women don't understand how to basically balance the two, and a lot of the times, the women who don't understand how to balance the two are the women who are basically trying to figure out which master to serve. Because now it's like, all right, I got this work, but then I also want this. But a lot of times it's the women who are doing because they have the job out of fear. All right. So some of these women, these career women I'm talking about that are married, that have their own like high powered careers. I'm talking about like doctors, attorneys, and whatnot. Right. They're willing to give all that up. Like, this is part of the vulnerability aspect I'm talking about. As soon as a man or they got the kids or whatever, they're willing to just drop all that. Maybe at some point in time they'll return and whatnot. So they're not doing that all this stuff out of fear or out of being alone. Matter of fact, I encourage most women to be able to go out there and fend for themselves, because that's part of being a functional adult. You got to be able to have your own job, and you got to have your car. You got to be able to do all this stuff. That's why when women say that stuff, I'm like, what the hell does that even fucking mean? I got that same shit. So, like,
what y'all really want? Y'all want women to stay home?
No, we don't want them to stay home. It's just it's like understanding. It's understanding your not only your nature, but understanding basically yourself and how to deal with the opposite, your man, essentially.
So we need to study men instead of studying our jobs. We need to study y'all, because that's the most important thing.
Because in the end, but here's the thing, baby. In the end, that is the important thing, because when your job is gone, your family's all you got left. You feel me? So that's all you got. So you gotta understand, because
girl, if you don't stop that damn turn,
so you gotta understand. You gotta understand how to take yourself. And the way I see it is, listen. You want to be able to deal with a woman that has something going for herself, that at least knows how to take care of herself. Because the way I see it, if you don't know how to listen, if I die and we decide to build a family, how do I know you're gonna take care of my kids when I'm done? When I'm gone? How do I know that I'm putting my money in the right place, or not in my money, but my investment, like I'm talking about everything, my resources, right? In the right woman. If something happens to me and she can't even figure out how to move something forward, like, that's crazy to me, right? If you all of a sudden, like, I'm gone and next thing is I gotta find me another man, that means you weren't prepared, because you're not prepared to go out there and deal with this shit, right? That goes back to that home training. So no men aren't afraid of women having the jobs and whatnot. It's just saying, okay, can you deal with the man when you have all that stuff. And for some majority of women, they don't understand that two dynamic. They feel like, okay, if I have this job and I'm basically doing what you're doing, why do I have to do all this stuff extra? It's not extra. You're pouring in to the relationship, because you understand the man has to do way more in terms of not, let's say you guys both work 40 hours a week, right? In the end, if somebody comes to your house trying to rob you, his life is going to end up having to be on the line, right? If the war comes, guess what? Men are going first. He's going to have to go ahead and sign up, regardless of if he wanted to go or not. Is what I'm saying. So these different things. If the world stopped, if men stop doing shit right now, the world will stop. But meanwhile, you can have women gather around, millions of them march for whatever, take days off and whatnot, and nothing changed. And guys aren't putting themselves to the point.
Hold on. Baby. Okay, now you got ahead of yourself. Come on now.
No. Let me finish. Nothing changed in the sense of like the world's gonna come crumbling down. I'm talking
the
about
world
like big.
will come crumbling down.
Yeah, we just don't give y'all no ass. Y'all, the world come crumbling down. What are you talking about? We just say close our legs and we'll see how much all that talk is then.
I'm not talking about the sex or the legs part or whatnot.
No, but that's what we talking about.
No. I'm not talking about.
I'm not talking about that either.
If women stop doing their jobs and what they say. Listen, men are suffering right now because women aren't doing those necessary parts. That's why a lot of men are suffering right now in terms of being single and trying to get in a relationship, because women aren't doing that other side. So that's happening right now. I'm talking about the career world. That's what we're talking about. That shit stop. Like, men are gonna keep going because we're not gonna let that shit happen. Women do it all the time. When you have a baby, guess what? You're gonna have to stop and go back and raise your family before you're ready to go back into the workforce.
Absolutely.
So that's what I'm talking about. So you have the ability to stop. You don't, like, guys don't have that. If you got yourself a real provider male that has to be on it,
there's paternity leave, right?
That's paternity leave, but most guys don't even take that. I mean, if you really even dive into the study, see, Joe,
I mean, let's be real. If a woman goes back to work and leave the man home with the baby, y'all would lose y'all minds. Let's just be real. That baby started y'all lose it.
Listen. I agree with you. No. She's right. Listen.
Can I say something?
My daughter, let me say this real quick. Let me finish up one. When my daughter was about from the year 1 to about 3 years old, before she started to use her words, I couldn't do it because I couldn't communicate with her.
Right.
It was like she was crying. It was just like, I don't know what to do. But mama comes in, okay, like, no. Okay, baby, what is it? You know, she has a little bit more patience with that. But as my daughter grew older and she's using her words and she's trying to, navigate school and try to understand things and whatnot, now she's coming to me. Now we can like do all this, like, okay, I understand you, girl, you understand me. Let's make it happen. Let's daddy time, you know what I'm saying? But when she was younger, I felt helpless. You know what I'm saying? But now think about this. A lot of women nowadays who are modern, they have their kids and they still have to go back to work and they live in their kids in this vulnerable state, right? With strangers, other women inflicting their own policies into your kid instead of what you're supposed to be raising them at. So this is the problem, what I'm talking about. We're already suffering here at home. All right. Our boys are being raised by other people and they're teaching them all these different messages that they shouldn't be taking out no way. And now look how they turned out. And girls, the exact same thing. So we need to come to a situation where we're having a balance. A woman can work, right? I was talking to this lady who has a situation with a husband where she works nights and he works during the day, right? And his job pays a little bit more, but they still kind of make right around the same tax bracket. And the way they do it, they structured it like that, so that way one person is always home with the children. And the one thing that she was talking about, like, she was like, the one thing that's important to me is to make sure that I'm with my kids. Like, as someone with the family is with my kids, I don't want her to be in no daycare, all this other stuff. I want someone here to be with her, and it saves on babysitting costs. So these guys figured out how to work their home, their situation,
how does their marriage
to
work?
Fit them. It's for
when do they spend time with each other?
They listen. That's up to them to find the time. They can find the time all day long. Listen, you only see so much of
and
the
they
day,
having sex.
right? So
Duke,
that's what I
on and off. I had a situation with my first husband. I worked night shift. Remember Caution? He worked day shift, and so but I wasn't really pressed. But yeah, that worked out. That was good. I mean, just to have that peace of mind that you're always there. Like if your child gets sick, I mean, you don't have to worry about who's going to take off for work. So that did
There's a
work out
certain level
beautifully,
of
actually.
there's a certain level of peace. There's a certain level of peace
Right,
that's
it
coming
is.
to
It really
So,
was,
so,
brother.
and when you're
And
talking
that's
about the
balance.
sex and all that stuff like
Mhm.
that,
Yes.
it's gonna come down to communication and whatnot, and all that stuff. So you guys gonna have to figure that out, and that's where this is where the work comes in when, in terms of being married and having a long-term relationship. These are different kind of obstacles gonna pop up. Okay, how we're gonna keep things spicy? How we're gonna maintain intimacy? How we're gonna do all this stuff? And
So we
still
just need
make
to
sure we
work.
keep it home. It's
Men and
work.
women need to work.
Yeah.
Well,
that's marriage, period. Marriage is
There
work,
you go.
period.
So I
There you
appreciate
go.
that explanation, but I don't.
I just
hear
want to
that
make sure
stuff.
y'all got me, because y'all.
Oh yeah,
y'all
you
stopped
talking about
talking.
that women aren't needed?
Yeah,
Even though we
y'all
close our
gotta-
legs, y'all
no,
die.
no.
Yeah, we got that. Yeah,
No,
we
no,
know.
But you know
there's some
what,
dudes
dude?
out here that kill themselves over that shit. So
I appreciate that explanation, because that is a narrative. Men built the world. Men. What is it? Men want women. Women need men.
Listen,
Whoa.
listen. I say this. We both need each other, but the problem
Right.
with women is they have to differentiate what it is that is a want and what it is that is an absolute need. Okay, people want things all the time, but what is the thing that you can't go throughout life without, right? And that is your own personal utility. And that's what you got to start looking at guys as, man. We're your own mini utility. All right, if you need something fixed, we're on it. You need the lawnmowers, we're on it. We're your own little utility. You just have to figure out how to push the right buttons to get us to do those things, to get us
So much
motivated
work.
in the right way to do it. It's work, but that's what it takes. You got to learn how to speak our language, girl.
Yeah.
That's it. That's how you
Yeah.
do these 30-year, 40-year, 50-year relationships, because they put in so much work, they can speak without even speaking.
But do y'all want to put in the work? Seem like it's so much emphasis on
Honestly.
us doing the work to understand y'all, but I
Not
mean,
all guys.
yeah, like only like 5% of y'all put in all this work that you speak of.
Right, and this is where I would disagree with. I don't know if Kevin Samuels has said this particularly, but some of his fans tend to say this a lot. And I would say this, right? A lot of times those guys, they're not raised to be able to understand the work. For instance, when I got married, I didn't understand the work behind it. I really didn't. I thought it was like it's all it was, but I'm still making the money. That's what it is. I didn't realize that when she's saying, "Hey, baby, spend time with us. Come do this. Come do that." Right? I thought it was all well, I ain't trying to do that. I got to go do this. Right? I wasn't paying attention enough in that situation to understand that was important. I didn't understand that was work that I need to put in to maintain that intimacy and whatnot. So you got to understand when you're wrong in that situation, and that's why I disagree with most guys where they talk about, it's all the women. No, you got to understand what you're doing wrong too. A lot of times you got the things you can grow from, things you can learn from. But yes, I do agree. A lot of guys out here, they're not being they get, because a lot of times on his channel they talk about the guys being raised to be husband or whatever it is, and women not raised to be wives. I agree with the women not being raised to be wives, but a lot of these dudes out here ain't raised to be husbands either.
Hold up, so
I mean, let's
on
be
that,
real.
that channel,
They're
they're saying that men are raised to be husbands. Men
yeah.
are raised to be
Men,
husbands.
men have never been raised to be husbands.
You're right.
I would say men of old, yes, but nowadays I would say most men either fuck boy or trick. That's literally what's it right now. And that's part of the reason why we have. That's part of what we have the channel right now, because that's what it is. And because we have a lot of these guys who are either leading with their wallet or throwing a whole bunch of unnecessary validation that a lot of times women don't really need, man. Sometimes y'all don't really understand if the dudes listen to this. Y'all over compliment a woman and she knows that, because a lot of times women know themselves sometimes, you know what I'm saying? They know how they look, they know how they come off, they know the insecurities. So you sitting there doing all this and then she doesn't believe that. She already knows that you cap. Like, that's what it is. So it's like,
She knows she's not a bad bitch.
Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? So when guys come up with all this over
the top
flattery and over the top, it's like, okay, there's an agenda here. What is it that you want? You see what I'm saying?
Maybe she is a bomb to him. This possible
to him, but a lot of times, women aren't gonna see it like.
Maybe he liked that eye in the middle of her forehead.
You know what I'm saying? that goes back to
that.
Exactly, but that goes back to the other conditioning. That goes back to the conditioning I was talking
He like
about.
a full titty bitch.
So can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Bitch.
So I can imagine for a woman who stays home, right? How a man can feel like he's the man, if you know what I mean, in the house. What about if you're with or married to a professional woman? What does that relationship look like to a guy that's ideally for you guys?